Welcome to another part of Heileen 3 New Horizons. I'm your host as always, ReGLP33. Let's get on with it, shall we? While Elias greeted and led the children to the room, Marie gave me a concerned look. I paused. I'm thankful, but I'm still suspicious about him. You remember what happened back when we left Liverpool? I think he's really changed, Marie. I'll keep an eye on him as well. Thank you. I'm worried the rash will spread to the other children if it's not treated soon. I did ask some other doctors, but they wanted to make them bleed and get the illness out. I don't like those treatments. I wouldn't pay for those. Don't worry, it'll be taken care of. Oh, I still have his cabinet. I'll let you know how it goes. I left and entered the other room. The two boys, roughly around the ages of 5 or 6, seemed nervous as they sat down in little chairs. I knelt down and smiled. It'll be okay. Dr. Elias will make you feel better. And stop scratching. It'll just make it worse. But it's so itchy. The red marks all over their arms and their fingernails were probably bloody from the scraping. Elias opened his cabinet and looked for a vial and started mixing substances together. What are you doing? I'm combining techniques using my knowledge and what I learned from Ebele. Sulphur is used to treat these itches, but I also want to add something that'll cool the skin too. Soon he had a salve prepared. It smells icky. The boy whimpered and I patted his head. It may sting a little, but it'll make the red spots go away, promise. Both boys exposed their arms and Elias and I started rubbing the ointment in. When we were done, one of the boys started to touch his arm, but I waggled a finger. Oh no you don't, you can't scratch. It's not gone through. Elias laughed. It'll take some time, you have to apply it daily. I'll put the salve in some bottles and you can take it home with you. Be sure to take them. Do you have a mummy or daddy that can help you? I have a mummy, she can do it. She also has the itch too. Dad doesn't, but he'll be happy. Alright, I'll prepare some extra salve for your mummy. He spoke in a quiet, simple tone in order not to intimidate the children. When the treatment was done, the children thanked us simultaneously and hurried to join Marie's class. Elias and I walked through the classroom and Marie gave us a grateful nod as she accompanied us to the door. This means a lot to me. Will you be running again soon? We'll probably check back in a few weeks to see how the condition is. If it gets worse, be sure to notify me straight away. Thank you. Will you accept the donation now or later? How about the next time I see you? They exchanged nods and I departed with Elias. Outside of the school, I could not help but smile. Treating people is really rewarding, isn't it? Whether it's saving lives, guiding them through God, or making someone's life a little more comfortable, yes. Before I only pursued medicine because it was expected of me, my father was a reverend physician. He hammered knowledge into me constantly and sent me to the most prestigious schools. That shipwreck, I realised life's too short not to be grateful for my skills. I'll now perform these charities under God for the greater good. I'm glad you think that way. I trust you, Elias. He seemed stunned by my words and flinched slightly before adjusting the cabinet in his grip. I'm truly sorry for that. That really was stupid of me. I can't forgive, but I can't promise to forget. He looked away dejectedly, and I could tell he was sincerely ashamed of his repulsive act. But I look forward to starting a new beginning with you. He looked relieved. Thank you. Nothing beats Elias when there's a good old medic. Yep. Morgan stopped by earlier to tell me we were sailing to another colony. It will take 4 days to reach that destination. Well, let's see what I can do then. La 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 la. Yes. Ooh la la. La la la. La 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 la. Teacher. I'd been sleeping for some time, and I was woken up by a loud noise coming from outside. I got up to see what was happening and realised that it was the wind. When I looked out of my window, I saw that the clouds were darker than usual, an obvious sign that a big storm was coming. I tried going back to bed, but the noise just became louder and louder. Ah, what is up with that? I tried to open my door and look out, but the moment I did, the strong wind slammed it shut, causing me to jump back in my bed in fear. I lay there for a while, trying to sleep again, but soon realised it would be impossible. A few minutes later, the wind got even stronger, and it finally started to rain. As I listened to the rain, I started to slowly become drowsy. Just when I was about to finally go back to sleep, I was distracted by a knocking noise coming from outside. I chose to ignore it, thinking that it was the wind from a strong storm that was causing it. Heileen, please open up. John is still outside. Excuse me. Is he suicidal or something? I instantly stood up and opened the door. And as expected, John was standing there. What the heck are you doing out here? Are you trying to get yourself killed? I was still up doing a bit of work when the storm started and I got caught in it. My cabin is really far away, and since yours is closer, I decided to come here instead. So please, let me stay here until the storm passes. This isn't some sort of trick he's trying to pull, is it? Knowing him, he might have planned this from the very start. He might have gotten out the moment it started raining. But the rain was showing no signs of letting up, and I'm not really cool enough to leave him out in the cold, am I? Well, he is wearing a short, so maybe that could keep him warm. Wait, what am I thinking? Before I could decide to let him in or not, my mind drifted into thinking about something else. That shawl, I could have sworn I'd seen it somewhere before. It's sure we'd never give a belay in the second game, I think. Hey, are you going to let me in or not? I ignored his question while I was fixated on the very familiar shawl. Where have I seen that thing? Wait a minute, that's Marie's. Hello, Earth, Heileen, let me in. Ask him how he got Marie's shawl first. Not unless you tell me why you have Marie's shawl with you. This is Marie's. John looked relatively surprised, but there's no way I was going to buy that excuse. How come you've got that? Did you visit Marie before you came here? I honestly don't know what you're talking about, honey. Just let me in before I freeze to death. I wanted to slam the door shut, but seeing him shivering and the intense downpour was making me reconsider. Fine, but you can only stay until the storm is over. John and I had some small talk while we were waiting for the storm to let up. Hours passed and the wind may have weakened, but the downpour was still as strong as ever. I really want to go back to sleep. I let out a big yawn and John instantly laughed, making me blush and cover my mouth in embarrassment. You can go to bed if you'd like, it wouldn't be any problem. So you're going to stay here and just watch me sleep for the rest of the night? Oh god, that sounded so creepy. I hope it didn't give them any ideas. I guess so. It's not like we have a choice. I'd rather stay here and awkwardly do nothing than run through that storm. I really don't like the idea of him staying here while I sleep, especially now that I've suddenly imagined him pumping his fist into the air and screaming, "Things are all going according to plan." I really was sleeping, and like John said, it's not like we have a choice. Therefore, I decided to climb into my bed and sleep, but not before giving John a warning glare. I was drifting in and out of consciousness, only vaguely aware of movement on my mattress. I felt my hair being ruffled. I'm confused, is this a dream? And a few minutes later I felt something really soft and warm on my cheeks. After that there was nothing. I woke up the next day all alone in my room. So I guess all those things I felt last night were merely a part of my dreams. But if it was a dream, how come it felt so real? And every time I remember it I feel warm inside. My thoughts were suddenly disturbed by a loud knocking noise. Before I could check to see who it was, the door suddenly opened. "I'm coming in!" I stood up to greet her. "Good." "I heard you were with John last night, Heileen." I stopped mid-sentence and blinked. How did you know?" Ah, my. Ah. With that guilty look on your face, you're making it look like something weird happened last night. Blood rose in my cheeks as Mary held her stomach from laughing. Nothing happened, okay? Now answer my question. How did you know? Marie struggled to stop her laughter and stood up straight. I met John on my way here, and he told me what happened when he returned my shawl. So he did borrow that shawl from you, huh? I was about to get angry at John, but my anger instantly disappeared when Marie shook her head. No, he didn't. The shawl was blown away by a strong wind last night. And since it was already so dark and it had started raining, I decided not to go for it. Oh, by the way, can you come to the colony and help us? You guys need help with what? The storm was so strong that it severely damaged a lot of buildings. So almost everyone here agreed to help the townsfolk repair them. But there aren't enough people, so I'm trying to round up the ones who aren't doing anything. Just help. Alright then. Just wait for me to get ready and we're all set. Marie smiled at my enthusiasm and gave me a pat on the back. That's nice of me. Nice, I know I can count on you. Hey, what's that? Oh my lord, we're going to be lezzing it up with our best friend soon. What's what? That piece of parchment on your table. She pointed behind me, and sure enough, I saw a neatly folded parchment on it. How come you're getting love letters and not telling me anything? What? That's not a love letter, it's probably nothing. Maybe a note I forgot or something. I'm just kidding, no need to be so touchy. Anyway, I'll wait for you outside. We walked out of my room, my eyes instantly fell on the so-called love letter. I picked up and unfolded a small parchment, and to my surprise it turned out to be a letter. Actually, it didn't really look like a letter, it's more like a poem. You thought last night was a dream, but you thought wrong. I really did stay by your side all night long. From those gentle caresses to the ever so soft kiss. 'Twas a wonderful moment and I'm glad I did not miss. There wasn't any form of signature, but upon remembering the events that happened last night, I definitely know who wrote it. So it was not a dream, huh? John really did those things. I know I should be getting angry at him or even laughing at this letter, but why do I feel so happy? Ooh. Be a missionary, be a missionary. Oh my god, let's be the teacher. Allah. Keep the centre of gravity steady, we don't want to lose her. Now there's something you don't see every day. My uncle and Laura watched the scene with interest along with me. The morning star was beached on the shallow turquoise waters of St. Lucia, exposing one side of its hull. They had greened the ship so they could clean and repair the hull. It was a race against time since they were performing the task during the low tide. Most of the crew members, including John, Jack, Sebastian, Robert, and all able-bodied men were hard at work. Jonathan was hastily sketching the scene, his crude graphite pencil making broad strokes on the paper. We were located in a bay between two steep mountains to provide coverage since the Morning Star would be vulnerable to attack during this stage. Juliet was in one of the rowboats, overseeing the maintenance. Even from the shore I could hear her faint yelling and displaying wild gesticulation. Out of the corner of my eye I spotted Belay and Morgan talking while they walked along the pristine yellow beach. Finding it odd that Morgan was not supervising his crew, I approached the two and gave them a friendly wave. Hello, where are you two going? Heileen, I was discussing with Abelia about climbing one of the mountains here. I don't entirely agree with it, but we may find some herbs and fresh water. It's true we're running low on water, and it'll be a good 10 days before we reach Port Royal. And even if we don't find a water source on the mountain, we have this. He took out his handy French spyglass and tapped the case. I heard there are many waterfalls on the island. Is it safe to wander around here? Morgan flashed his trust me smile. For the most part, this island was purchased from the French West India Company a decade ago. I think sugar cane is being cultivated here. I can speak enough French to get by thanks to Juliet, just in case the situation arises. You sure know a lot about the islands here. Morgan tilted his head side to side, not exactly disagreeing, but not concurring strongly either. Need to know which islands to pillage and plunder. He winked, and Rebele rolled her eyes, although her faint smile suggested she found his carefree answer amusing. Will your crew be okay without you? Morgan surveyed the beach, morning star, as we heard the sounds of people repeating orders. I'm sure they'll survive under Juliet's supervision. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to explore an island. The three of us decided to trek on the beach until this jungle landscape pressed against the shores, and we did not want to venture deep into the wild yet. As we neared the base of one of the tall mountains, we spotted a village which mostly consisted of a few huts. Ibile and I waited patiently while Morgan approached the community and conversed with a tanned person who was nonchalantly cutting up firewood. After a few sentences that I could not catch, Morgan gestured to the closest mountain, and the man's eyes followed. An agreement seemed to have been reached, and Morgan hollered for us to come over. It seems we found ourselves a guide who is willing to take us to the summit. It pointed to the shorter of the two mountains, although it looked equally steep and difficult to climb. The guide extended a hand and rubbed his palm, indicating pay. Ibile's face fell, and she looked guilty. Oh no, I didn't bring any money. Morgan began searching his pockets. What should I do? Wait for Morgan to find some. There was a soft clink as I discovered silver. However, Morgan and the guide made no indication that they had heard, while Ibile tilted her head only slightly. She looked at me expectantly, and I averted my eyes. I could feel the coins in my pocket and carefully handled them to prevent them from jingling as I feigned being broke. That was nasty of me. Pretending to search through my outfit for money, I waited until Morgan successfully produced a few reels and offered them to the guide. The man's eyes lit up eagerly. Encore 3 minutes et je serai prête. Prince ton temps. For some reason, I was always bad at learning French, and I was too rusty to follow along easily. After noticing our confusion, Morgan smiled as the guide walked away. He says he'll be ready in a few minutes. Morgan went ahead while Ibile lingered beside me, and she gave me a reproachful frown. You found money before Morgan did. Why did you not offer? I sheepishly rubbed the back of my head, embarrassed that Ibile saw through my act. Nothing escapes you, does it? I thought it would be better if Morgan handled it. He has been kind to the both of us. It would have been a good opportunity to show that you appreciate him. Yeah, whatever, Ibile. F off. Ibile went ahead, and I sulked, wondering if she was right. I reminded myself that there would be a next time. The guide introduced himself as Pierre, and we each supplied our name. When we reached the base of the mountain, I estimated that it was over 3 furlongs high above sea level at the peak. The guide explained it would probably take somewhere between 2 to 4 hours to reach the top. Morgan reassured the guide that we were fit people and would be able to handle the climb. After ascending the mountain, it was not long before we found that it was extremely steep. It was rocky, and most of the mountain was covered in thick foliage which kept us in the shade and protected from the hot sun. Many times we had to climb straight up, our stomachs practically to the mountain. Luckily there were numerous crevices in the boulders and tree roots to provide support. Halfway up I could feel my muscles burning with each hoist. The guide seemed unfazed, and many times disappearing as he went forward. We would find him waiting for us impatiently before continuing. My tiny body had an advantage, letting me scramble up areas that others normally avoided. I was ahead of Ibile and Morgan, while Morgan brought up the rear. Abila had slowed down a little, but seemed to possess more stamina than me. Morgan was larger, more cautious, but steady in his strength, and his strength never gave out. I sighed when we reached a tiny trail that was narrow but less steep, so I was able to stand up normally. I had to press my body to the rock, lest I would fall into the stony and leafy bottom below. Pant, pant. Should we keep going? Even if we find a water source, it would be a hassle bringing it down if we collected it. Any plants of interest you, Bile? No, I've been too busy trying not to fall to really notice. We heard a hearty chuckle below us. Even so, I'm certainly enjoying myself. I think the view will be worth the climb. He seems happy at least. I guess even a pirate likes to take a break from his ship too. What do you find easier, Morgan, climbing the rigging on the ship or climbing a mountain? Morgan grabbed a tree root. As long as I can find footholds, I can cope. There was a loud snap, and I gasped in horror as Morgan lost his balance. His eyes went wide as he desperately tried to seize another root, but his body angled back. Morgan! Suddenly a hand thrust out and grabbed Morgan's wrist firmly, stopping his fall. Ibile grunted as she strained under his weight. There was an unexpected jerk as the root she was holding tried to unravel from the cliff surface. Morgan cautiously eyed the rock and did not want to make any movements that would jeopardize the two, and Ibile would not be able to hold on much longer. Try not to panic, I carefully retraced my steps downward, not wanting to stumble now. Guide, Pierre, help us. Oh, secures, I hollered for the guide, repeating what Morgan said while I slowly descended. Ibile, don't let go, I'm coming. I carefully positioned my body on a stable part of the mountainside and grabbed Ibile's wrist, lest the root she was clinging to snapped as well. When Pierre joined us, we managed to direct Ibile and Morgan to sturdier footholds. Morgan pressed his stomach against the mountain, both hands holding on to crevices in the rock, and glanced us up weakly, producing a faint smile. Thank you, merci beaucoup. We continued up the mountain, this time extra cautious, and the guide did not wander far this time. When we reached a relatively flat section, we paused to rest. I curled up with my knees close to my chest, catching my breath. I curiously watched Morgan approach Ibile, and I was close enough to overhear them. Now is the proper time to thank you, Ibile. That was rather impressive. Without your reflexes and strength, I probably would have. Ibile smiled and shook her head modestly, bashfully averting her eyes. It was nothing, I just reacted. Seeing Morgan and Ibile acting so friendly together caused my stomach to tighten in knots, and I could only sulk silently. Then the guide waved to us, drawing our attention. Continuons de grimper avant quil face noir. Ibile and I looked at Morgan expectantly, and Morgan nodded. He wants us to continue the climb. I stood up and brushed off the debris and leaves from that my outfit has connected during the ascent. As I walked past Morgan, I could feel the urge to say something. Snide bubble up inside me. Want him not to well again. I waited until Ibile had caught up with the guys so I could speak to Morgan privately. Unable to prevent the bar, I could not help but sneer enviously. Make sure you keep your eyes on the climb and not Ibile, or you might fall again. Morgan's eyes widened in surprise at my words. His mouth tightened in a taunt smile as he looked at me dubiously. I'll keep it in mind. Moments later, the guide called for us and we quickly set off again. Since we had made it this far, we decided to climb straight to the top. The final stretch was difficult and we had to act as spotters, guiding people where to put their hands to make sure everyone had a secure hold onto the mountain. When we reached the top, the sight stripped away the fatigue and I excitedly rushed to an ideal viewing spot. This is incredible. The mountain overlooked the bay, and I could see the morning star still beached in the shallow waters. The ocean was a brilliant shade of blue, reflecting the open sky. The island was lush with forests, save for a few clearings made for sugar plantations. Despite the hot sun, it was slightly chilly at this altitude, with a pleasant breeze that ruffled my hair. While Morgan conversed in French with the guide, Abile approached me to share in the sights. I gave her a playful smirk. You're becoming quite the adventurer, Abile. First living on an island, then scaling a mast, now conquering a mountain. What next? You've got living with pirates. I feel like we've done it all. We chuckled lightly. That too. I'm glad we climbed today. Maybe taking more chances like this isn't so bad. She trailed off, pondering on something. Before I could inquire further, Morgan hollered to get our attentions, and we turned towards him curiously. The guide mentioned there's a colourful waterfall not far from the bay. Abela and I glanced at each other in surprise. A colourful waterfall? Is there something mixed in the water? I want to see one. Morgan laughed and gestured to the bay. First things first, we have to climb down. Let's make sure we're well rested before we attempt it. The crew looks like they're almost done cleaning the hull, and the tide will be coming in soon. He tapped his spyglass, which explained why he knew the status of the morning star so accurately. We probably won't have time to see the waterfall today, but at least we'll know where to find a water source tomorrow. As long as I bring that up, Juliet won't consider this little expedition completely irresponsible. After an hour of rest and viewing things through Morgan's spyglass, we decided it was about time to head down. It was already midday and it would be evening by the time we returned to the ship. I had a lot of fun, even with the excitement. I'm glad Abile seemed to enjoy herself too. I wonder if this means she's adapted better to our new life. La 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 la. Let's have Abile. There's a big party in the colony. Music and dancers. Let's I approached Laura and together we have a good time. I feel our relationship is getting stronger. However, I'm really exhausted. Lost a lot of good amount of energy. This is the school. It doesn't look like much, but the house isn't being used. I wish I had more than a few horn books on me. Yes, we were pretty lucky to even get those. Marie led me inside the tiny one-hut room, which consisted of a few desks and chairs. Shelves were empty save for a few books. While you are teaching for free, this is expected. It was common for middle-class and wealthy children to be educated since they could afford it, or be taught at home. However, for the less fortunate, Maria was generous enough to provide a free lesson here or there from the colony to colony. She mostly arrived to assist teachers that permanently lived there. Today she was standing in for another teacher who was sick. Her face fell when she saw only a handful of children arriving, none over the age of 7. Most were barefoot, and some looked like they hadn't had breakfast this morning. 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. Sometimes I feel more like a tutor than a teacher. What's the difference? They both well teach. Marie gave me a blank stare and I cringed, not wanting to be a student today. You can teach me the difference later, or tutor. Now let's hand out these horn books and go over spelling, shall we? Marie nodded while the children took their seats. However, she seemed hesitant and looked over the children. Oh, Marie, you're so sweet. Understanding what was going through her mind, I touched her shoulder. Here, you can teach them while I get some food for them. They can't learn on empty stomachs. You sure? Positive. I'm not much of a helper right now. I'm rather clumsy at teaching. They grasp your methods easier. Thanks, I'll start the lesson and you can help me when we get to math. After I brought some bread and simple pastries, I quickly returned to the school. Marie called for a short break while the children devoured the treats, and she quickly summarised her lesson, which mostly consisted of identifying the letters of the alphabet. Once the children had finished their food, I handed out some cheap greyish paper. Immediately started on addition. However, the lesson did not go so well, as I realised I had not memorised numbers yet. Marie stepped in, returning to the alphabet, which helped capture their attention. By noon the lesson was over, and we opened the door to let them scamper out. Marie gathered the horn book, stacking up the paddles neatly, while I pondered how to teach mathematics in a more enjoyable manner. Heileen, ready to go? Oh, yes, of course. Thanks for your help, I appreciate it. If you say so, you're a much better teacher, Marie, or is it tutor? Marie tightened her lip and then looked at me mischievously. Do you want me to go over the differences now? No, I'm good for now. As we left, I cast a long glance back at the classroom before closing the door. Is this type of work for me? My God. Blah, blah, blah. Missionary. Very live. Missionary black. Rest. Future with freaking relay. You know what, Marie? Every time I watch the sunset before, I was always thinking of you. You don't know how happy I am to have you here with me right now. Marie gave me a smile, but her mood instantly darkened and she looked at something behind me. I turned around to see what it was, and it turned out to be Sebastian, sitting all by himself in a corner and drinking some wine. Ick, he's so disgusting. What makes you say that? I don't know, it pisses me off no end. What do you dislike him so much? Is there anything wrong with his face or something? Marie shrugged as she took a good look at Sebastian. There's nothing wrong with his looks, I'll give you that. I hate to admit it, but he is indeed attractive. I scowled a bit as I watched her bite her lower lip and continue staring at Sebastian. Is she actually attracted to him? That can't be. They wouldn't look good together. But my suspicions of her liking him instantly vanished when I heard her criticise him like he was the most horrible person on earth. He's just so full of himself, so dishonest and irresponsible, not to mention lazy. Moreover, he's a womanizer and a delinquent. People like John look good when they're compared to him. Now look at him, he's playing with cards and even invited the other pirates to join him. I'll bet you all that gold that he'll cheat them. The two of us tried to see what game he was playing, but a small crowd of pirates blocked him from our view. Then we saw him stand up and gaze in our direction. Marie blinked and looked away from him. He smirked and started walking up to the two of us. He's looking at you, Marie. I'm sure he's trying to try seducing you again, but he surely is wasting his time since... Would you like to join me in a game of dice? Well, that was a bit unexpected. Wait and see what happens. Even Marie was left speechless. It was unbelievable, but I refused to overreact. Sebastian looked at me like he'd only just noticed me, and when he saw the look on my face, he smiled. Why are you smiling? You're very good at masking your inner feelings. Then he instantly came close to me and started caressing my face. Not good enough for me. I can read you like an open book. As if. And besides, the offer wasn't meant for Maria only, it was for both of you. Before we could say anything, we worked away from the two of us. Marie stared at him, looking like she's actually considering his offer. Hey, let's just go and watch the sunset on the shore. We don't have to wait here on the bridge, you know. No, I'll go with Sebastian. What? But you just saying Sebastian was disgusting a few minutes ago. Marie ignored me and started following Sebastian, so I accompanied her. I managed to catch up with him, and the two of them disappeared in the middle of the small crowd of pirates. All the pirates blocked my path, and I could only get close enough to hear and see what was going on. You know what would make this interesting, Marie? What? Playing with money, of course. I'm not really a big fan of gambling with money. Oh, I see, I understand. We'll bet on clothes instead. Clothes? What do you mean by clothes? The one who loses takes off his or her clothes, plain and simple. What the? He just wanted to see her naked. Maria would not bet and not accept that. Absolutely not. I won't do this. She folded her arms and turned to walk away from him. Thank goodness you didn't fall for that bastard's trap. It seemed I was mistaken about you, Marie. I always thought you were a brave girl who was willing to take risks. Marie stopped walking away and turned to give him an icy stare. Oh no, she's falling for it. I never thought you were actually all talk, that you're actually a coward. Fine, bring it on, Sebastian. No, Marie, you shouldn't take him so seriously. He's just saying that to make you say yes. I repeatedly shouted warnings at her, but they all found deaf ears. She was ignoring me. Shall we begin then? Of course. Sebastian started throwing the dice. After a few minutes it was clear who the winner would be. It was Sebastian, and the pirate seemed to have noticed this as well, since they all started growing excited. Something was odd, though. Everything seemed to be always be in Sebastian's favour, like he was cheating or something. No, what if he was actually cheating? I tried to warn Marie again, but she was too caught up in the game to listen. As expected, Marie lost. Sebastian smirked as the pirates cleared around her. You know what to do, Marie. Woo! Strip, 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 strip. Tried to get close and protect Marie. I made various attempts to get close to Marie, but the other pirates were still blocking my way. I tried squeezing past them, but I only ended up being pushed aside. I tried pushing them away, but they wouldn't budge. Excuse me. Ow, wait, can I please? Ow, please move. I continued forcing my way through the crowd, but I realised that it was too late. From where I was currently standing, I could see Marie sobbing as she began to remove her dress. Marie, no! My apprentice was drowned out by the cheering of the crowd, and all I could do was watch helplessly as Marie undressed to the point where she's wearing nothing but her nightgown. You're actually not half bad, Marie. I've seen worse. Marie's already red-faced flushed some more as she had bit her lower lip, and to make matters worse, her whole body started shaking. This is not good. I have to go over there and comfort her right now. What is up with all the noise? Juliet's voice came from behind us, and the pirates instantly vacated the scene. Sebastian seemed to have disappeared as well, and Marie was left standing alone. I came closer to her and put one of my hands on her shoulders. Are you alright? Do I look alright to you? I can't believe you, Heileen. Why did you let him do that to me? We're trying so hard to get her out of it. I'm sorry I couldn't get close enough to you. The whole situation was a mess. But to be honest, I feel so guilty now. I wish I'd done more for her. Morgan stopped by earlier to tell me that we're sailing to another colony. It'll take 2 days to reach the destination. Well, let's see what I can do then. La 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 la. Heileen. What? Why do you look like your birthday has come a month early? Shush, there's no time to explain. We need to find Laura, Otto, Robert and Abile and ask them to come to my cabin later. I raised my eyebrow in confusion. Why would you need them to go to your cabin? Oh, did I say my cabin? I meant your cabin. Why? And it'll be a surprise. Just go, okay? And she gave me a wink as she walked away from me. What is up with her? Well, I have nothing else to do anyway, so I'll just follow what she asked me to do. I looked around the entire ship. After some time I found Laura, Otto, Roberts and Abile at the bridge listening to Juliet telling a story. Since I was a tiny bit scared to interrupt Juliet while she was telling her pirate tales, I decided to go to Abile and whisper what Marie wanted them to do. Abile, Marie wants you to go to my cabin as soon as you can. She relayed my message to Laura by whispering into her ear as well. Sure thing, we'll just finish this really chilling tale and then we'll be there. Okay, thanks. I walked away from them and decided to just return to my cabin, hoping to find out what Marie was up to. When I opened my cabin door, I gasped in surprise as there was a really big cake sitting on my table. And on the surface of the cake, a few words were written in blue icing. Since I was so glad to have found you again, consider this a gift from me to you, Marie. Oh, it's so sweet of her to do this for me. Wait for Marie to thank her. Maybe I should wait for Marie and thank her before I start eating. But this cake looks so tempting. I just can't sit here and stare at it. A small exercise wouldn't really hurt. It was made for me after all. I sat for a few moments to contemplate the whole thing. Woo! And right when I decided to eat a small slice, the door flew open and Marie entered the room. Marie, thank you so much for the cake and surprise party. You're the best. I squealed and then ran up to her to give her a big hug. What? Heileen, you misunderstand. Yes, that cake is for you, but it's also for Otto, Laura, Billy and Robert. Ooh. So by you, she actually meant all 5 of us. It wasn't referring to me alone. Goodness gracious, I'm so sorry for that, Marie. At that exact moment I apologised. The others finally arrived, making Marie augur all my repeated sorrows. Oh, is there a party going on? Why is there cake in here? Sort of. This cake is for all you guys, even if someone actually thought that it was all hers and wanted to get to it first. Really? Thank you so much, Marie, but you didn't have to. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks. Otto didn't even bother thanking her, for he was too busy running up the table and cutting a slice for himself. Only after he'd already gotten a taste did he manage to thank her. This pretty goof, thanks, Miley. No problem. You are saying thanks, aren't you? Well, of course. No, Otto, don't talk with your mouth full. Fine. He walked away from the two of them to get into the slice. Anyway, Marie, I would really like to thank you. It's not really that big of a deal, Laura. I just wanted to do this, that's all. Oh, this is why I like you hanging around Heileen all the time, huh? Why is my name suddenly brought up? Piqued by my sudden curiosity, I decided to come closer to them to eavesdrop on the whole conversation. Ha, you really think so? Yes, you truly have the most positive influence on Heileen. I think the reason she's become so polite and educated is because of you. I think Laura's getting it wrong. Marie often gets me into trouble. If someone was a positive influence, it would be me. Laura saw me watching the two of them, so I actually looked in the other direction and walked farther away from them. After a few moments, she approached me and asked if something was wrong. Asked her if she really meant everything she told Marie. Laura, tell me the truth. Did you honestly mean all the things you told Marie? Laura reversed her gaze from me and looked down at the floor instead. Sorry for that. I didn't really mean to. Oh, come on, Laura. Marie is an adult now. There's no reason to keep her from learning the truth. Just tell her that if it weren't for me, she'd be nothing by now. She started stammering excuses, but I chose not to listen and walked away instead. Ba-da-da. Okay. Marie and I were taking our usual after dinner walk into the colony when a commotion suddenly caught our attention. The two of us decided to get a little closer, and unsurprisingly we saw Sebastian and Morgan arguing about something again. It's hard to find the two of them just sitting and talking peacefully, isn't it? We saw Laura in the middle of the crowd, so I approached her and asked her what happened. What is it this time? Morgan has just beaten Sebastian in arm wrestling, and he's now asking for a rematch. Sebastian shouldn't bother, Morgan's unbeatable. But look how muscular Sebastian is, he's bound to be a difficult opponent. I'm sure Morgan had a lot of trouble defeating him, and I certainly applaud him for that. I'm glad you girls have picked your sides, but as for me, I don't know who to choose. Choose? Choose for what? Isn't it obvious? Marie tilted her head a bit, but before she could ask any questions, she was suddenly distracted by Sebastian's voice. Okay then, I admit it, you are indeed stronger than me. I'm so glad you finally realised that. Oh, I'm so going to challenge you now to a game of dexterity. Are you kidding me? I don't need to fight you with a sword. You can't even beat Juliet. What makes you think you can beat me? I don't want us to test our dexterity with sword fighting. We're going to test it with throwing daggers. What do you mean? We're going to put a woman on a wooden wall, and then we're going to throw 5 daggers around her. What? You mean just like the ones in the circus? Yeah, and we'll be doing it right here, in front of all these people. Isn't that a bit too dangerous? Indeed, I wonder how Morgan will react to this. I think he should turn it down, someone might get hurt. As the crowd started murmuring to each other, Sebastian made an attempt to mock Morgan. What's the matter? Scared? I am not. I accept your challenge. The men in the crowd cheered and started whispering in excitement. Some of them even started placing their bets. I bet you 20 gold coins that Morgan will win. Careful, Morgan doesn't even look like he wants to do it. What makes you think he's going to win? At the exact same time, some of the women started panicking. Hey, I think I should go. Why? Nothing, I just had the sudden desire to leave. Bye. But I wanted you to be the woman on the wall. Hey, get back here. Mom, can I stay and watch? You most certainly cannot. Let's go. Why? What if he asked you to be the target? I certainly don't envy the poor woman who will be chosen as their target. So, who should be the lucky lady? Laura laughed as she watched all the other women back away in fear. Don't volunteer. To be honest, I actually want to volunteer, but I'm too afraid of what might happen to me. A few minutes passed and it seemed as if no one wanted to be the target. Maybe I should. I'll do it. Everyone gasped as they watched Juliet step forward. This way, if you manage to ruin my clothes with your daggers, I finally have an excuse to kill you. The crowd laughed, and at the same moment Sebastian turned his gaze on me. He looked disappointed for some reason. Wow, look at her, she's so brave. Yeah, Juliet truly is one of the bravest women I've ever met. Oh great, Juliet's getting all the attention now. Juliet, are you really sure about this? I don't want you to get hurt. I'll be fine. Now's my chance. If you don't want Juliet to do it, then let me. What? But Juliet raised an eyebrow, and she said it was fine with her. I can still have my excuse for killing him anyway. If Sebastian hurts my very close friend with this dagger, I'll avenge her by killing him. Morgan sighed as Sebastian gave me a wink. A smile, sorry. Better late than never. I posed in front of them and the challenge started. Since I'm the one who suggested all this, I'll go first. Before he positioned himself, he came closer to me and reassured me. Just relax, okay? I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel a bit excited. I wonder, is it because of the oncoming danger or the presence of Sebastian? Hey, are you going to start or not? Sebastian walked away from me and began. Before I could even prepare myself, all the daggers were already in the wall. Everyone went silent for a few seconds, then they started cheering for him by calling out his name. Well, it's Morgan's turn now. You better be careful, okay? Yes, of course, just watch me. Just like what Sebastian did before. Morgan came closer to me before he started, but he did not reassure me. Instead, he told me something I never thought I'd hear. Pretend to faint. I can avoid throwing the doggos if you pretend to faint. Morgan wanted to cheat? Before I could even ask why, Morgan walked away from me to avoid raising any suspicion from the audience. Do what Morgan said. Morgan's throwing skills must not be very good. If they were, then why would he ask me to cheat? If I want to avoid humiliating him in front of a crowd and also avoid getting injured myself, I have to follow his plan. Oh my, I suddenly don't feel very well. I closed my eyes and tried to act as if I'd just fainted. I heard everyone gasp as I felt warm and soft hands gently taking me off the wall. The hands pulled me into a hug and I could hear a woman's voice asking if I was okay. I recognised it as Laura's voice, so I decided to open my eyes before she overreacted and made an attempt to kill Morgan or Sebastian. Oh, you're awake. Thank goodness you're safe. You don't have to look so worried, Laura. I'm fine now. Laura, who was on the blink of tears, suddenly wore a frighteningly angry expression. You are most certainly not. We are going back to the ship, and I'm going to ask Elias to check on you. And she carried me back to the ship while being closely followed by Marie. Men really are so stupid. Calm down, Laura. You might drop Heileen. To think that they resort to just dangerous feats just to impress women. They should be ashamed of themselves. Behind me, I could hear Marie muttering to herself. Maybe I should just walk away. She's kind of scaring me. But then again, I'm worried that she and Heileen might accidentally bump into a barrel or something. So I guess I should stay. That was a good meal. Being satisfied, I decided to get some fresh air on the bridge. On the starboard side of the ship and spotted Ibile talking to Robert and John. Curious, I sauntered over and casually joined the conversation. It was cut short, however, when Robert yawned and glanced towards the cabins. I'm exhausted. See you in the morning. Good night, dear. She gave Robert an affectionate smile, and he nodded before departing. What about you, Ibile? Aren't you heading off for the night as well? Oh no, I will be staying up for a little while longer. As we conversed, and I noticed Jonathan peering out the cabin door briefly before closing it, as if he was looking for someone. After he had disappeared, he beamingly glanced in the direction of the cabins and politely interrupted John, who was animatedly telling an experience he found funny. I'm so sorry, but we're heading off as well. Take care. Right. Good night, Ibile. As Ibile walked off, John crossed his arms and stared intently at Ibile's back until she vanished. I huffed and swiftly elbowed him hard in the ribs, not liking that lecherous leer. Startled, he looked at me in surprise. Can you stop ogling at every girl's rear for once? I scowled, while John Mager shrugged with his arms raised, exposing his palms outward. What? I was not. Can you please stop jumping to conclusions with me? I raised a brow, not amused, and John dropped his arms, rolling his eyes. I was just thinking to myself that Ibile was hiding something. Usually she goes to bed at the same time as Robert. Why did she bother staying behind just for a few minutes anyway? Or maybe she found my story just that interesting. I doubt it was your drinking story. Actually, she left just after I spotted Jonathan. John glanced back at the cabin door. My brother was here. Yes, I only saw him briefly. He glanced outside and headed back in like he was looking for someone. I wonder if he's looking for Ibile. That is strange. I say we follow Ibile and see what she's up to. Follow her. I wouldn't hurt to innocently walk by with no ulterior motives. Absolutely. John grinned. Agreeing that our alibi was a simple stroll. We followed after Abine, keeping quiet so she would not notice us trailing her. I whispered to John, "Haven't we done something similar to this before? I guess we have a penchant for these things. Like your penchant for womanizing." He opened his mouth, but I covered it before he could speak, glaring at him to keep silent. Luckily, Abine did not pick up on our shadowing. We peered around the corner just before Jonathan's cabin. Abine casually walked through the door that was slightly ajar. We heard a muffled greeting as she closed the door, but there was no mistake that Abine was visiting him. John and I stared at each other in shock. No way! Did my brother successfully seduce Abine? Even if Jonathan is smoother than you, I don't think Abine will fall for his advances. She already has a boyfriend. Maybe he offered to draw her nude so she could give Robert a painting for his birthday. Speculating will get us nowhere. Let's wait and see what happens. We both waited just down the hall so we could keep an eye out on the door. If Abine was only paying Jonathan a simple visit, she would be out soon, right? I leaned against the wall while John was opposite to me, not far from the cabin door. We said nothing, hoping for some noise to betray a sign of activity. I was not sure how long I waited, but my eyelids became heavy, and John's head bobbed as he was nodding off. Just as we were ready to slump down, I heard an owl, followed by rustling uneven footsteps. I jerked away just in time to see Abine staring at John while he was rubbing one raised leg. She glanced back at me, her lower lip protruding in disappointment. "What are you two doing here? It's very late." I wait to hear an explanation. A dozen questions surfaced in my mind, but I did not want to jump to conclusions and accuse Abine of performing something disreputable. It was when I noticed that she had a book in her hands. Her hair was not ruffled or her clothes askew. Nothing seemed to suggest she did anything explicit. I decided to be honest. "I'm sorry, we originally followed you because we thought you were hiding something. We thought you and Jonathan were having an affair." And we'll leave it there for now. Join me again next time for more Heileen 3. Until then, have a lovely rest of day. Bye bye now.